Okay, it's 7 o'clock. We'll call the meeting to order. Hit him on the head. Okay, we call the meeting to order. We'll take roll. Looks like everybody's here. All 6 trustees, and I'm here. Has everybody had a chance to review the minutes of the June meeting? They were emailed out a few days ago. Are there any additions or corrections? Okay, if nobody has any additions or corrections, I would ask for a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Do I have a motion? Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, I have a second. I have a motion. A motion from Sean, a second from Matt. All in favor of approving the June minutes as presented, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. Is there anything under clerk's report? Do we have a report? Okay. No, if you have something, but you don't have. Okay. Now we're going to the treasurer's. Oh.
Steve, I wonder if we could take a look at tonight's agenda. I wonder, is there no more action that we need to take on the municipal court?
Well, no, we already passed that. We already
So
did that.
That's a done deal. Are we waiting for the wording from James or something? Or
Yes, we
Jim?
can talk about that in the executive session.
Okay.
Well,
And
do you
then-
mean, no, hang a second.
Yeah.
Susie, do you mean in terms of approving the ordinance?
Yeah.
Because it was approved as it was supposed to be published. My understanding, we've had some transitional challenges and it hasn't been published, and so it has to be voted on at the next meeting.
We had some, I'm sorry, we had some what?
Transitional challenges, Jody's new.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, that's fine. I just wondered because on the first copy of the agenda, it had it on there, and the second copy didn't. The other thing was that the third item under old business, where it says vote on short-term zoning revisions, we didn't really have any short-term zoning to begin with. I mean, I don't see why it's called revisions, and I'm not sure what you meant by that, so I
Well,
just wanted
when we-
clarifications.
That's what we went through all this spring, and then
You mean
we
the
were.
committee,
Yeah, well, no, we were all ready to vote on it, and I think,
Okay, so the definitions.
yeah,
The
we
zoning
came
code
up with.
definitions.
And then we tabled it because we were gonna have the committee to do all this.
Mhm.
And so we tabled this,
Okay.
but it's been published.
Okay, yeah, I just want to make
So
sure
we
what that
can-
was about, because that word, short-term zoning or revisions, wasn't very clear to me, that's why I
Well,
want to make
that's
sure.
what it is. It's
It's like-
revisions to the
it's
zoning
definition,
ordinance.
Yeah.
Because in the zoning ordinance, it doesn't really spell it out. And
Right, it
this-
doesn't call it short-term rental.
And yeah,
it calls it
and
no
this
sales.
does.
Mhm,
So,
yeah.
and James asked me to put this back on there, so
Okay,
I
and I
did.
think maybe a better word might be amendment. I just wanted to make clear, in case I'm getting vibes that we could be presented with a lawsuit. And wording can be important, I feel, in the way
Well-
we say things. And this should be called amendments rather than revisions, because we didn't have any zoning regarding short-term rental till now. No mention of it in zoning code.
Well, and now we are revising the zoning code so that we have mention of
We're
it.
amending it, can we say
Yes.
that? Is that okay at the beginning of the meeting to make that change to the
That's-
agenda?
If you want
To
to.
say, no?
No, if you want to make a change to the agenda, it has to be done. at
Okay,
least-
well, for the record, I
24
want us
hours
to be
prior
clear
to-
what it is, and it's not, it's more of an amendment.
Okay, what do you think, Jim? I mean,
I think that it can be addressed in the spot in the agenda that it's placed, if you want, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, if the board feels that it should have been put in the agenda as an amendment to the zoning code, it can be tabled either to a special meeting or to the next meeting.
I
It's
just
up
thought
to,
it deserved mention. So,
Well, when we get to that, we will talk about it then,
okay.
okay? We were down to the treasurer's report. Has everybody everybody has a copy? Are there any questions on any line items? If nobody has any questions, I guess I would ask for
The
a
West Elk
motion.
wood floors.
What's that?
The West Elk wood floors.
That's for the floors here.
Okay, they were done, completed?
I think it is, yes.
Okay.
I'd be more than happy to tell you all about it during my report.
Okay, that's
And,
good enough. Okay, if there are no questions, I would ask for a motion to approve the disbursements for June.
I would make a motion that the treasurer's report be accepted.
Okay, I have a motion from Susie. Do I have a second? Okay, I got a second from Rand. All in favor of approving the disbursements for June, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, down to the mayor's report. I will start with the good news. I will not be here at the August meeting. I'm going to be out of town, so that's the good news. Also, I would like to say, Susie is the mayor pro tem, and she will be conducting the August meeting. We did host the July mayor manager meeting here, and we had a program on VRBOs that John Weiss did a real good job of our program. All these meetings, they want you to have a program of some sort, and I thought that was very appropriate because it's a big item here, and countywide, it's kind of coming to every town. So thank you, John, for taking care of it. And I guess one other thing. I got an email from Chris last night. I'm sure he's here. Oh, yes. About porta potties during Pitkin Days. Was that it?
Well, I've already had them delivered today because we're having a street dance Saturday night.
Okay.
And so with all the concern exhibited by the trustees and the zoning board members over septic system utilization, I thought, well, I'd get them in here and try to reduce the load on my system, and if they wanted to be at the store.
Yes.
If y'all wanted to use them for picking days, I've got them scheduled to be there for 2 weeks.
Okay. Well, I didn't get it on the agenda, but I think it's a good idea. And if we can find a way to pay the money, I think that we probably should. I don't know how the trustees feel, but
Pitkin Days held by PHCA though. not
what's
the
that?
town. The Historical Society.
I don't know if they want people storming in. I mean, we'd have to ask them.
No, it's their deal. It's their game.
Okay.
They're the
It's
ones
All
not
right.
in charge
the
of it.
town.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, somebody will take care of it. I
I'll pay
guess
for
the
it if I have to.
PHCA will do. Okay. Okay. Anything under town attorneys?
very briefly.
Uh,
Everyone knows that there's been some issues before the town that have been fairly contentious. Some folks are pro an issue, some folks are anti an issue. But within the last week, I've heard of an individual whose name I don't know, that has appeared to have been making threats to a person that is perceived to be on the other side of that issue. That is intolerable. That is unacceptable. And quite frankly, it's potentially criminal. I want to be clear. If any of that absolute malarkey occurs here, I will be the first to get on my phone and call the sheriff's department. Notwithstanding the division within the community over the VRBO issue, you are neighbors, and you really ought to treat each other as such. So I'm just letting you know that this issue's come to my attention, and if there are more specific instances or any instances involving any unpleasantness in one of the meetings, we will take whatever action is deemed appropriate and necessary. That will not pass muster. Neighbors treat neighbors like neighbors. No more of that at all. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Jim. Down to public comments to the town council. I got a couple of notes here. Gary Ham, did you want to speak?
Yes, sir.
Okay, this is your time.
Well, the first thing I gotta say, I'm Gary Ham, I live at 1020 State Street. I've had a place here since 1985. I pay taxes, and I don't agree with the people on the other side of what I disagree, but I like them, I consider them friends. But they're good people. But I think they're looking at things the wrong way. I don't know whether they've had a good soul search, what we do with the town if we got our short-term rentals. I don't think it'd be good. And there's anybody could rent a place. I'm not saying it will, but you could have pedophiles or anybody rent, or drug deal go down, or you could have a thief case in the town. And a few years ago, we had along the same line, people crossing me bought the lots and they want to turn residential into commercial. Well, I talked to a few people, quite a few, which I knew then. There's some of them deceased now, some of them's moved, but I got a petition up. Well, the petition was signed by everybody. They didn't want commercial zoning in our area because it could happen across the creek to them over there. So I took it to the meeting and it was not even brought up. It was just dropped. So that's all I got to say. I do like some of the people on the other side of the issue, but I'm against it. Thank you.
Okay, Gary, thank you. And I also got a note from Matt Buchanan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Ed Herman, who owns the property on Main Street between 6th and 7th Street, would like to get the okay from the town to cut down at least one and maybe as many as 3 of those cottonwood trees that are on the north side of the street. Those ditches were lined probably some time ago, and those cottonwood trees are starting to die. And he would just like the okay to cut the trees down. At least there's one big one right on the edge of his property and the property Michael Ebert just bought. And then there's 2 more that could potentially be cut down. I just wanted to see if anybody had an issue with that. They're still alive, but the one is for sure dying.
Okay.
I have an issue with that.
I don't, because, as
No
long as he
cost to
doesn't
the
come
town,
and
just-
want the town to cut them down. If he's
No, I
gonna
don't
take
think
care
so.
of
I think he just wants the
Okay.
permission to cut them down.
Well, do any of the trustees have a problem with it?
No, all of those big old cottonwoods have outlived their life.
Yes.
They're worthless to the town.
Yeah,
I mean, they're on town property, or town right away, just barely. But,
yeah,
and I think when the ditch was going there, they were probably okay, but
Yeah.
now that it's lined, they're dying.
Well, even further down, their limbs are breaking off and
Yeah.
falling in the street.
Yeah, you see that pretty common, yeah. So,
okay, I don't,
he just wanted me to bring that up.
I
so
think it's okay.
Okay, I'll tell him.
Nobody's got a problem. Okay, commissioner and community, reports, anything under building?
Issued 3 more permits.
Okay. Zoning?
Yes,
The zoning board of adjustment met last night. The individual members are working on recommendations to the town board regarding the Pitkin zoning code. The next meeting is scheduled for next Monday, July the 20th at 7 o'clock in the town hall meeting room downstairs. Another matter that was discussed was a complaint regarding 724 State Street. It was determined that a certified letter is to be sent to the property owners letting them know they're in violation of zoning code section 7A1. The letter has been prepared and will be mailed tomorrow.
Section what?
It's section 7A1. One recommendation that needs to be made tonight, or would like to be made tonight, is that the zoning board of adjustment be allowed to acquire a meeting secretary to take minutes and pay this person per meeting an amount to be determined by the town board. The funds should be obtained from the general fund, or could be obtained from the general fund, or by an amendment to the 2015 budget. And if you would like me to make a motion to accomplish this, then I would be glad to move the motion.
Does that have to be on the agenda?
Well,
Because I could put it on the August agenda
I-
and we could vote on it. I don't,
Mr. Mayor, typically, when you're taking action with regards to an ordinance or a resolution, that's the kind of thing that typically needs to be done via notice. When you're talking about having a administrative expense approval, I don't know, like I've told you before, in terms of the protocol to approve the monthly expenditures, I don't think that that's necessary. So under the
Okay.
circumstances, I think that unless you're talking about having, thousands of dollars being spent, I think that that'd be appropriate to address.
okay, so we can do that at this meeting.
I think that that would be appropriate.
Okay,
you want to do it right now? You want
we
to wait?
can, we can do it right now. This is as
Okay.
good a time as any.
Okay, I move that the zoning board of adjustment be allowed to hire a meeting secretary to take minutes and pay this person $50 per minute meeting. That's
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and we have a second to pay a secretary $50 for each meeting to take minutes at the zoning board meetings. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
I'm gonna abstain because I know at least next Monday, I'm gonna be the
Okay.
person he chooses, and
Okay,
it
you
doesn't seem right
abstain.
for me to say.
And-
on it.
Who seconded the motion?
I did.
Matt. And for those who were not at the meeting last night, it went for 2.5 hours. There were a lot of minutes.
I said it was $50 a minute. huh?
Yeah, it would be. It was, it's a lot of minutes. It's not just a few lines, so. Okay, James, did you have anything else? Okay, let's see. Fire department?
We made right at $5,300 for the fundraiser, which is an average
Okay.
one. And we went on 3 calls last month, 2 EMS and 1 fire. And we're having practice every other Wednesday, not tomorrow, but next Wednesday
Okay,
at 6:30, and everybody's invited.
all right. Is that all?
I'll do it.
Hey, man, would you just point out that the big tree's coming down tomorrow by professionals?
The big tree's coming down tomorrow by professional.
Okay,
And he's running away,
Hey, I'm not gonna
leaving
be
me in
here.
charge.
It's gonna be, it would be probably interesting to see.
Yeah.
Is that why they're turning off the electricity at 8:30?
Yeah,
Maybe I should.
they gotta build a loop around it so they can take that line down.
okay. Okay, thank you. Okay, Parks and Rec, is Alicia here? I didn't see her. Okay, environmental health?
I have some reports to enter in. Everything's humming along.
Okay, okay. Streets? Anything on the streets?
She's not here,
She's
but
not here?
she's hauling more gravel, trying to build the roads all up.
Okay, that's,
I
they
think she's
look good.
overgrading some right now, that's why she's not
Okay.
here.
Ditches, anything under ditches?
No, everything's fine. We've got a couple of, blockages that have flooded some things, but it's just normal stuff, so.
Okay, let's see, cemetery? Anything under cemetery? PHCA?
Yeah. Just a few announcements. Tomorrow we have a children's movie matinee at 2 o'clock, Never Ending Story 2. Friday at 6:30, there's a potluck, and the program will be on the railroad that went from Pitkin and over Alpine Tunnel. And the speaker's name, Marie, I've forgotten.
Tom Klinger.
Tom Klinger, thank you. Our melodrama opens next Thursday. We're doing Alaska or The Secret of Yonder Mountain. Tickets are on sale at the Silver Plume and at Nancy's Needle. And as we usually do, as a thank you to the board for the use of this building, you all get comp tickets.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Wednesday, what time and when is the movie matinee tomorrow?
It's at 2 o'clock. It's the Never Ending Story station.
Okay.
Okay, anything under town halls?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
First, I want to apologize for having to leave early. I have a sick athlete, so he's
Okay.
not feeling well. So after I get my work, I'm going to go. I'm sorry.
oh, okay,
West Elkwood Floors came and, along with the guidelines that the Colorado Historical Society set, they repolished this floor. And it's been danced on and stomped on since they did it, but it's holding up pretty well. They put 2 coats down. It took them a couple days, but I think they did a wonderful job. So there's that. Miss Stephanie Nasso has agreed to be my assistant commissioner. So in the event that I may not be here, she will have the keys. So she's going to help me keep it clean and all that stuff. So thank you to her. I want to thank our road commissioner Lisa, our fire chief and trustee Mr. Ram Mikowski, and our trustee Sean Cleveland for helping to make our town hall fundraiser a success. We had a sold out house here for Free the Honey, and it was literally standing room only. I couldn't be more happy with how it went. I actually just handed the proceeds to Jody. It came out to $1,558 raised. So what I would like to do with that, with your permission, is talk to Mr. Williams about maybe some designs for our bathrooms that we want to do. So I'd also like to thank the Silver Plume Grill, the Silver Plume Garrison family, Jan Milton, for helping to prepare this building and get it clean for not only our meetings, but and for the fundraiser as well. One other thing, I've had the fire safety inspection from Western Slope, and they actually informed us that we needed fire extinguishers downstairs in both rooms. So I had those installed today. All of the fire extinguishers in this building are now current, and we are ordering that emergency light right there. It was burnt out, and we can't have that and have people in here. So that's my report.
Okay.
Thank you.
okay, thank you. I've got an item on the agenda here where the town council is going to go into executive session with our attorney to ask legal advice. I'm going to table that till the end of the meeting so that everybody won't have to sit around and wait, so the meeting will be actually over except for banging the gavel and saying so, and we will go into executive session. If somebody wants to hang around to watch me come back and bang the gavel, they're welcome to. All right, we'll go down to first thing, well, on old business, I have the ordinance concerning the open records request, but we've had a little snafu on getting it published. It has gone to the paper to be published, but we didn't meet the time record, the correct time. So we're gonna have to table that until the August meeting. Okay, so, let's see, we will go down to this, where I put on there, vote on short-term zoning revisions. And if
Did you just get
if
one?
you don't feel like, if you feel like you want to table it to the August meeting and change it,
No, I'm sorry, just like, I have a question because it looks like, did you want to address the request for fee waiver for open records
That
request?
was
We've
already
done that.
done. That
We've
was done
done
at the
that.
last meeting.
that was done. That shouldn't have been on there.
Okay, all right. No, whatever you guys want to do, I just wanted to make sure that it was understood that it's not really a revision of any short-term rental policy that we've had in the past, which we haven't. So that's all, I just want to make that point, that it's an amendment, meaning that we're defining these definitions.
Defining this zoning definition.
Yeah, that's all, I just want to make sure that's clear for the record.
Good. Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
we had the amendments, and then, as you know, there was some concern on a couple of items. So at this time, I would like to make an amendment to amend the amendment.
Okay.
And it's, I've passed out a sheet if
Yeah.
it went all the way down.
Yeah.
And want another one?
No, I don't have.
Jim
And if anybody wants to know,
No, these gentlemen over here are looking at me because I am a clog in the machinery of progress.
okay. So the first one is on section 3 definitions, the word definition, item 35. It was temporary use, any use in any zone which is temporary in nature with duration not to exceed 14 days. And my thought on that is that 14 days doesn't really matter if it's temporary, whether it's going to be 2 days, a week, maybe even up to a year in case of construction. So I would like the not to exceed 14 days removed, and then add of time to be determined by the Board of Trustees. So then that section 3 item will read as 35, temporary use, any use in any zone which is temporary in nature with duration of time to be determined by the Board of Trustees. And then the next change would be section 8, conditional use. And this is one that we had a lot of argument back and forth on. Short-term transit rental lodging, if approved by the zoning board for a maximum use appropriate to the available water, sewage, and off-street parking. And recommendation is to remove, if approved by the zoning board for a maximum use appropriate to the available water, sewage, and off-street parking, and then add, comma, after review by the zoning board of adjustment, a recommendation for conditional use appropriate to the available water, sewage, and off-street parking will be referred to the Board of Trustees for final decision. So that Part D then will read as short-term rental lodging in the business district after review by the zoning board of adjustment, a recommendation for conditional use appropriate to the available water, sewage, and off-street parking will be referred to the Board of Trustees for final decision. Then the last one is section 10B. It says short-term transit rental lodging, rental of a residential structure or part thereof for any 29-day period or less is considered a commercial business use. And then in parentheses, it was in the revision that was passed out. This will be reviewed after receiving the CAS study. So I recommend we just remove from that wording, this will be reviewed after receiving the CAS study. So I would move that this amendment to the amendment be voted on.
Well, if I'm gonna be right here, we can vote to accept it and, publish it, but it'll have to be voted again.
Oh, we can make minor changes. That's the purpose of going to the trustees. Is the trustees then has the option to review and approve it. Certain minor wordings, now we can't make major changes, but we could certainly make, you can check with your attorney.
Okay, Jim, what do you?
We can make minor changes.
Minor changes are generally good. I think that all of these changes make sense. But under the circumstances and under the lightest scrutiny that everything is being done at present, I feel that it would be, prudence would dictate that this be addressed and voted on at the next meeting.
I think that the people would certainly, you know, as contentious an issue as this is, they certainly are gonna want to actually read this instead of just hearing us do it.
Well, that's,
I think that people are gonna want a chance
So
to
we would
actually read it.
vote on this to
Well,
be published then?
Yes,
if it's second,
Yeah.
you have to second. Somebody has to second.
I'll second it.
okay, but we're just voting to accept it and have it published, and we will be able to vote it at the August meeting. We'll do the final vote on it. So we got a motion from,
To amend the amendment
okay,
is the
got a
motion.
motion from James, right?
Well, we got a motion to amend the amendment,
Okay.
not delay it or put it off. So,
But we're going to,
That's not what he's saying, Mr. Mayor.
he
Mr.
wants to
Mayor,
do it final at this meeting,
That's correct.
okay? How does, I guess I'd like to ask if people out,
I think it's about time.
I think so too, but,
We're all sick of it. Get some action here.
So,
okay?
I just want to clarify, James, so you're recommending that we not do vote on the amendment?
He
And
wants to
Jim
vote it
McDonald.
and finalize it at this meeting.
I mean, Jim, I'm sorry, Jim
that
McDonald,
is
you're
okay.
recommending that due to possible lawsuit problems and
No,
stuff?
it's nothing to do with lawsuits.
Okay, so you
It's
just
simply
still,
because this was, the proposed amendment to the zoning code was published a long time ago.
in May, yeah.
Now there's a proposed amendment, and quite frankly, removing not to exceed 14 days, and then adding of time to be determined by the Board of Trustees is not an insignificant change,
It's not,
in my
it's
perspective.
not insignificant, you're saying?
That's correct. It is a
Okay.
significant change, in my perspective.
Mhm.
I think that under the circumstances that, especially given that the zoning board is currently putting together potential additional revisions, I think that when you do this, and then you have more revisions at the next zoning board meeting, it just becomes piecemeal. If you're
Jumping
gonna make
again.
a zoning change, make one zoning change that addresses all the concerns. That's just my perspective.
Well, nothing that I saw in these, really in the meeting last night, really addressed language like this does. Is that correct, or did I miss something?
well, you're correct in what you're saying, because we haven't even, we've just talked about what we think we're gonna try to do, and we have not even started making the recommendations.
Okay,
That is the next meeting, we're gonna actually try to put together some recommendations.
okay,
You know, and then we had assignments from the committee members to try to develop some recommendations. So, yeah, last night was just,
okay,
let's get organized and do something.
okay. Who made the motion, so, Jim?
I made a
You
motion.
made the motion, and Matt seconded it.
No, Cindy went ahead.
Oh, Cindy seconded. I'm trying to get this straight so that I'm just trying to help Jody out.
Yeah.
So, should we let it drop, or should we
No, I don't
vote?
think we should let it
So we
drop,
should vote.
you know, because for one thing, this is an amendment to the zoning code. And I thought that what you're working on last night is not necessarily, it's not actually on amendment, it's kind of its own document. Is that correct?
Well, that's partially correct.
Yes.
Yeah. Part of it will be an amendment to whatever zoning code we have at the time.
Okay. Okay.
In my feeling, it would be nice to kind of quit finally kicking the can down the road on this, but I mean, I feel we should listen also to Jim McDonald, you know, on his perspective of it, because he probably, you know, has some reason for not thinking that we should amend the amendment. But, you know, that's, I don't know if we want to take it to a vote on whether or not to do that or what.
Well, we should vote on it.
Okay.
There's a
Well,
motion and a second.
I've got, right, that's what I'm gonna say. Oh,
We have a
okay.
motion on the floor.
I've got a motion and I've got a second. All in favor of accepting this zoning amendment, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Okay. We're 6-1. Okay, and then we'll hash this out in the.
Well, now, that was the amendment to the amendment. Now we have the amendment as changed to vote on, which is the one that we approved whenever it was.
And had
after it was
published,
published and
That's what
and
these
noted.
changes,
Right,
Those changes go into these
and
changes.
that's what gets.
This is the amendment. Yeah.
okay. So now we have to, so now you want to vote on the original document then?
And that would be your item, vote on short-term revisions or
Okay.
definitions.
Okay. Okay, so you're making the motion, correct?
Well, I'll make a motion
Okay,
that we
I'm
approve
trying to just help
the
Jody.
amendments. Right,
I'm trying to help Jody.
yeah, I
Okay.
know.
I've got a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I got a motion from James, a second from Matt. All in favor of accepting the zoning amendment as revised, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Okay, that also was 6-1. Okay. So we did that. We can go down to new business. Vote on citizen of the year. I had one nomination that was emailed out. Does anybody else have anything to turn in? Does anybody have any nominations? I hope so.
Well, I had one, I didn't send it to you, but I sent it to the other trustees and I don't have it with me.
Well, James, do you want to read yours or the one that you emailed in?
Yeah, I'll read it. Let me find it here. I'm getting too much. Okay. To the town Pitkin Board of Trustees, subject 2014 Citizen of the Year. It is our pleasure to nominate Steve Pinkston as the 2014 Citizen of the Year. Steve has contributed to many hours of his life to the betterment of Pitkin during the 17 years that he has lived here as a full-time resident. He has donated time working on the town ditch, been street commissioner, served the Pitkin Fire Department as fireman, trainer, and as assistant fire chief. He was a town trustee and is now mayor. Steve is the reason Pitkin has cell service. He continued to promote a cell tower when others had given up. James and Lois Sharpton.
Right. And my letter was similar to this, except it also said that you pursued cell service through ComNet for us, for not only us, but any businesses in town, summer residents and visitors. And you did it with not expecting anything in return, no monetary value for you coming back to you.
Okay.
So we appreciate that.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other nominations? Please. Okay, I guess did somebody make?
I'll make a motion that we nominate Steve Pinkston as Citizen of the Year for 2014.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second? Okay, all in favor of voting for Steve Pinkston as Citizen of the Year, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that's 6 yes and 1 abstention. I did. Matt?
Rand second.
No, Rand did, okay. And I did abstain, so.
Okay, so it was only 6.
Yes, only 6 voted for it. Okay, now this is something, we have to vote on check writing signature resolution for Jody Wise. I've got a whole stack of unsigned checks. So if anybody wants to get money, we're gonna have to, but this is just a procedural thing, you know.
So do we need a motion?
We do need a motion,
I
we
would
do need a
move
second.
that I would move that we allow Jody Weiss to be a signer on the signature card for the bank for our account.
Okay.
It's up, counts.
Okay, I have a motion from Susie, do I have a second?
I'll second
That was Rand, okay, motion from Susie, a second from Rand. All in favor of allowing Jody Wise to sign the checks, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, and clerk pro tem, Nancy was very adamant that she would like to be the clerk pro tem. She wants to keep her foot kind of in the door, and since she has experience, I think it's very appropriate. And she kind of indicated that one day, if Jody ever got burnt out, she might come back. So I thought it was appropriate to vote her as clerk pro temp.
Are there any other persons that are?
Well, yes. I guess I would have to ask if anybody else is interested in being clerk pro temp. You could hear a pin drop.
I heard crickets.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I'd make a motion that we vote Nancy Deutsch as the clerk pro tem.
Okay, got a motion from James.
I'll say.
I got a second from Cindy. All in favor of having Nancy Deutsch to be clerk pro tem, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, we're down to vote on county weed agreement. This has to do with noxious weeds. I left the word noxious out.
I do have a question.
Yes.
Mr.
Yes.
Mayor, I have a
Sure.
question that was brought to me. And I know from the past that we have worked with, and I'm going to assume the county, and we've paid them like $250 or so, and they come in once a summer and
That is
they
correct.
start down the road and they spray all the way through town. I guess my thought is, and the question that I was approached with is, do we have a Colorado Noxious Weed Act specifies that all local governing bodies must adopt a noxious weed management plan for all lands under their jurisdiction. Do we actually have a plan, or do we just?
I have that ordinance in my file.
We have the ordinance in the
I
file.
have it
So
in
we
my
have
file.
we do
I
have.
remember seeing it in my
Okay.
file, yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Well, it's been so long, I thought we did, but I wasn't sure, and I was asked this question, and I
Okay.
wasn't sure the answer.
We're kind of taking the easy way out here. If we vote no, then we still have to have somebody spray the weeds, and the county has to come up and approve it.
Yeah.
So by just having the county do it, we kind of take the easy way out. And
So I saw them in here the other here a while back
Yes.
spraying. Do we need a motion to pay that, or what?
yes,
do we-
that's
is
what,
it-
I guess that's we have to sign IGA, the intergovernmental agreement. And I guess what the item is really for is, yes, to pay the bill, but to sign the agreement.
And just so we're clear, Mr. Mayor, I
Yes.
haven't seen that IGA for whatever it's worth. I know that I've seen them in previous
Okay.
incarnations, but I have not been
I can find
provided
it.
anything.
Can we vote to accept it on your approval?
Sure.
Okay. So if we So I guess I would like a motion to accept this IGA on noxious weeds pending the attorney's approval.
Question, do we need a dollar amount in this? We make a motion to approve, do we need a dollar amount to cover it? Or?
Do we have the actual dollar amount?
$300.
$300 gone up.
A little bit. It used to be two something.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to sign it too.
Well, after we vote.
And another question is, do they have a right to go on private property if
They
noxious
usually
weeds
talk to
are?
people, they're supposed to talk with property owners first.
Well, they'll call and tell you that they are doing
They're
it.
supposed to talk to property owners first.
Because they killed those fake daisies that were in my.
Yeah, those oxeye daisies and then the thistles are the two that would really have trouble with.
Yes, right,
And I like them.
So,
yes.
They're every year. They're really pretty in my backyard.
yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve the payment to the county for weed spraying.
Okay, that's pending the,
I'm reading it right now, Mr. Mayor.
okay, okay,
I'll second.
okay. Can we go ahead and vote it? Okay, all in favor of accepting the IGA on noxious weeds signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, we've accepted that. That effectively ends the meeting. I'm not going to bang the gavel because we have to go into executive
Respectfully,
session.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I apologize, I'm a little bit foggy on the protocol, but my recollection is that in order to go into executive session, there needs to be a motion
Okay.
from one of the board members requesting to go to executive session, specifically identifying the elements of the executive session, further identifying the projected time that will be elapsed in executive session. And I do believe there needs to be approval by 5 out of the 7 board members.
Okay,
I
And
would
that
like
needs
to make a motion that we go into executive session. The reason of which is to discuss possible liquor zoning matter or any new litigation, also to discuss zoning enforcement and legal advice and process with our attorney.
do you have a time? Half an
Maybe
hour?
an hour, I don't know.
Okay.
If it's an hour, I'd be fairly shocked.
Well, you
Okay,
just don't never know.
I suspect 15 minutes is appropriate.
Well, let's say half an hour then,
okay,
so we're not rushed.
okay.
I'll second it.
Okay, I have a motion from Susie and a second from James to go into executive session and for legal advice on zoning enforcement, for zoning enforcement, legal advice and process. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay.
Are we going downstairs or are we
I
going to stay
think
here?
that would probably be appropriate, because people want to help.
Visit.
I guess, I think so, yeah. Does the clerk go? Oh, okay. Because people want to hang around and visit, and we'll probably go downstairs.